This lesson is about division of polynomials and factoring. We will start first with division of monomial by a monomial and then followed by a polynomial divided by a monomial. So for this part here, we will be just needing the concept that we learned from loss of exponent. So let's just have a review on what are those. So if you remember, under loss of exponent, if you have a over b raised to x, we can simplify this as a raised to x over b raised to x. And if we have, let's say, a raised to x over a raised to y, we can simplify this as a raised to x minus y. Now, we just want our final answer to be with positive exponent. So we can simply do that because if we have negative exponent, we can simply write this as 1 over a raised to x, or if we have, let's say, 1 over a to the negative x, we can simply express this as a raised to positive x. Okay, so we will be um, distributing 5 both to the numerator and denominator. So we will be raising this expression to 5. So that's, since 4 is also a power of 2, I will not simplify at this point. Okay, so I'll just do first 2 raised to 5, x raised to 2, 10, y raised to 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. So why am I, or how is this the answer? So if you remember, if you have ax, everything raised to y, the simplified form of this is equivalent to ax times y. Hence, if we have this, we multiply 5 times 5, 25. Then for the denominator, we, since 4 is expressible as base 2, I would like to write this as 2 squared. Okay, so 2 squared, so that would be 2 raised to 10, and then x raised to 5. Okay, so we're just raising this expression to 5. Y raised to 5, and z raised to 15. So afterwards, we will be looking at same base so that we can apply this formula. So we simplify. So like what I have told you in the previous lesson, that whichever has the higher exponent, that means that will have the extra copy. So I can directly have this as 2 raised to 5, okay, because you have 10 copies here and 5 copies here. So the 5 copies would simplify to 1, so there's an extra 5 copy. Here, this is 10 and then 5, so that's x raised to 5, and then this will cancel each other out. And then here we have 25 minus 15, so this has a higher, has more copies in the numerator, so z raised to 10. Okay, now there's an alternate solution. Maybe some of you would say that, what if we simplify first? Yes, you can simplify this first, no? Because if you can see, I can simplify this. I'll have 2 and 4, so 2 in the denominator. Then you have x squared and y here, so I can have x here, and then y and y can cancel out, and then you have z raised to 2. And then that's the time that I will be applying the exponent 5. Yes, and it would give us the same answer, x raised to 5, z raised to 10 over 2 raised to 5. And by the way, we can simplify 2 raised to 5 as 32. So see, we get the same answer, and it's up to you which one would be easier for you. Okay, so the advantage of this is we are trying to simplify the exponents, right? Before we apply raised to 5. We can simplify first the fraction. Okay. Now, the next one here, we have a polynomial, but take note, our denominator is a monomial. So you can only do this if it's a monomial. So what we can do is to simply divide each by you can skip this step and just do this mentally and just give the answer. But I just want to write it down so you can clearly see the steps of the solution. Okay, because for some of you, you can just do it mentally. 12 divided by 3, 4, and then a raised to 5, a, so you'll have a in the numerator. It doesn't always have to be a nice polynomial, but what I have here, the final answer is a nice polynomial. B squared and b squared will cancel. Minus, this will cancel out. I'll have a in the numerator and then b raised to 4 because 6 minus 2. And then here 27 divided by 3, that would be 9. Then you'll have a will cancel out again, and then here we have b raised to 3. But it won't always be this nice. Now, sometimes if you already distribute this, you would have also a fraction here. Okay, so nothing wrong with that. Okay, but we cannot always apply this rule, especially if you have two terms here. Okay, so then if that's the case, then we have to do a long division. Okay, so in a long division, you have to arrange the terms in descending order of a power of a variable. So there, why did I say of a variable? Because sometimes there are two variables in the polynomial, but we just have to choose. It's either x or what. Just choose one variable. So in this case, there's only one variable. Then that would be x raised to 5, right? So that's the highest. So I'll just write a guide here before. That means you would have an exponent of 5, okay, power of 5, 4, and then 3, and then 2, 1, and then a constant. Okay, so that's a constant. Okay. So I'm just writing this down as a guide, but that's not the, you can skip that. Okay, so I will be looking for the term with exponent 5. So that's the first one. So that means we're going to have 3x raised to 5 for the first one. Then exponent 4, that will be this term here. So you have to arrange that in descending order. Okay, then if there's no power raised to 3, then you just put a 0 there. Okay, here, that's the meaning of this. So replace the missing power with 0. And then for x squared, I have it here. Okay, so again, there's no x raised to 1. So I'll just replace that with 0. And then the constant is 6. Okay, so that's how I rearrange. Okay, and then we're going to have, okay, you're familiar with the division sign, the long division sign. So what we're going to do is going to divide always with one term and one term here. So you're just taking the highest exponent and also the highest exponent because you can have three terms here. No? And then what you do is some people will explain what will you multiply to get 3 raised to 3x raised to 5. So another way is to simply divide this. Okay? On the scratch paper, you do this. And what will be the answer? That can be simplified to 3x raised to 4. So that would be the first term of your quotient. Okay, so that's the second step. Divide the first term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor, and you would get the first term of the quotient. Okay, then what do? We multiply the first term to the divisor. So you multiply, okay. So you can double check if you have the correct quotient because if you multiply, you should get the same. That's the idea, no, of just this term. And then 3 times, x, positive. Okay? Then what do we do next? Don't forget, we are going to take the difference. So difference means subtraction. So don't forget to change the sign. I'm going to use, okay, you change the sign. So always our goal is to have this to be 0. So that's the goal. If that will not happen, then you have to check the answer that you place here. So this is positive 1 and negative 3. So that's negative 2x raised to 4. And then since there are two terms, so you always expect to have two terms. So you bring down the nets. Okay. So do you need to write the 0? Not, but just for us to have a better solution, then I'm going to write it down. Then again, I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide this term, negative 2x to the 4, divided by the first term here, x. So if we do the division, you get negative 2x cubed. So that's negative 2x cubed. And then again, we're going to multiply this to this binomial here. So that's negative 2 x to the 4 minus 2x cubed. Okay, then we apply subtraction, change the sign. Look what happens. This becomes 0, and this becomes 2x cubed, and bring down the next one. Then we repeat, just repeat. Divide, so that's positive 2x squared. So that will be, when you multiply this, 2x cubed plus 2x squared. Then we're going to do a subtraction, change sign. We'll have 6x squared plus 0. So if we divide 6x squared over x, that's 6x. So multiply, you have 6x squared plus 6x. And then we subtract. Oh, I missed the sign. So you have to be careful. Did you notice that I missed the sign here? This is negative. I missed the negative here. So this should be negative. So you have to be careful. So that would be negative 6x squared minus 6x. Okay, change sign. Let me continue here. So you get, if you change the sign, that would be positive 6x, bring down minus 6. So that's the last. If you divide this plus 6, so you have 6x plus 6. Okay, so, right, because this will become positive. Okay. So 6x plus 6, we change the sign. That becomes negative, this becomes negative. So here we have negative 12. Okay, so how do I know that this is the remainder? Okay, look at the highest exponent here. That's 1. So if the number here will have a degree lower than that, then it's the remainder. So that's why earlier, since I have 6x, I know that that's not the remainder because it's still raised to 1. Hindi pwedeng, you cannot have an equal exponent. So when the remaining value here has a lower exponent, so that's just a constant compared to this one, then that will be a remainder. Okay, so let's write the answer properly. So that's a very long value, 3x to the 4th minus 2x cubed minus, it's a very long answer. I just want to show you how to write the remainder properly. Okay, so the answer is 3x to the 4th minus 2x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x plus 6. How do you write the remainder? So it's the remainder over the divisor. So you have to write it's just not minus 12, no? So that's wrong. You have to have a fraction. So this is how you write the remainder, okay, properly. Now, you can also apply the synthetic division. No? This is not required, but this is helpful if your binomial is as simple as x minus a. Okay, so I'll show you that we will get the same answer. Okay, so how do we do this? So for this one, it's the same rule. No? You arrange that in decreasing order, starting with the exponent 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then constant. So I'm going to get the numerical coefficient 3. Okay, there's no x to the 4. There's no, no, there's x to the 4. This is the x to the 4, 1. There's no x cubed, so 0. X squared is negative 4. There's no x, 0, and a constant negative 6. So these are what you call the numerical coefficient. Now, you write that in the first line. And then if there's no exponent, you replace it with 0. And then on the rightmost side, we have our a. But look at what we have here. This is x plus 1. Look at the general problem. So I have to rewrite this as this one. Do you agree? If I use a subtraction and change this to negative, if I simplify this, this is equivalent to x plus 1. So why do I need to do this? Because this is the general form so that you can apply synthetic division. If it's not of this form, we cannot apply the rule here. So that means I have to rewrite this. So that's negative 1 instead of 1 because this is plus. Okay, so how do we proceed with the rule? So the first one is bring down the first number on line 1 to line 3. So this is line 3. Okay, multiply this number to a. So yung our a here is negative 1, just to clarify. Our a here is negative 1. So multiply the number to a. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So when you add this, you get negative 2. Okay, so that's the sum goes to line 3. And then we repeat. Negative 2 times negative a, positive 2, add. Okay, then multiply again. Negative 2, add. Okay, negative 6, multiply, positive 6, add. Multiply, negative 6, add. Okay, so what happens here is that you started with the highest exponent of 5. Since this is just x, your answer here will have a lower degree. So yung 5, this one here would become 4. And then this will be the next decrease by 1, the exponent. You decrease by 1 again. Okay, and this will be the constant. Then this is your remainder. Okay, so which if we compare to the answer that we have here, it's the same. Okay, so I opted for this problem so that I can also illustrate the synthetic division. So do you need to really do a synthetic division? No, but for some, if they know the synthetic division, it would be way faster than writing out this solution. But maybe not that much of a difference in time. So it depends on the person. Okay. So not all of the time we have to divide, no? The next one is factoring. Okay. So in other lessons, we don't need to do the long division, but if we factor, it would be helpful. Okay. So I'm not going to discuss everything about factoring. I'm just going to discuss the basic of factoring. Okay. Some special formulas that would be more useful. So the first one is what you call a common factor. So this is the general form of that. So if you look at the term here, every term has a factor of A. Hence, we can factor out A. Okay, so this is what we call the common factor. So your common factor here is A. Okay. Now, so how do we find common factors if there are numbers and more than one variable? For the numbers, you just have to look for the LCD. No, least common, greatest common factor. Like, what is the greatest common factor about negative 12, 4, and 32? Because I can divide everything by 2, right? But it's not the greatest. If you look at 12, 4, and 32, I can divide everything by 4. Okay. So 4 will be our common for the numerical coefficient. Okay. Now, how do you figure out for the variable? So for the variable, you're looking at each of the factor. No? So you're just looking for the lowest exponent. So that would be common because x cubed cannot be common here. There's no x cubed. No? So the one with the lowest exponent will be the common factor. So for x, that's x cubed. Then for y, you have y squared, y raised to 5, and y raised to 10. So that is y squared. Okay, so how do you factor that out? Okay, so some students, they have a difficulty factoring out. What you can do again is apply division. So write down the term, divide that with the common factor. Okay, then you can see that you can simplify this easily. Okay, this will cancel out, right? So you just have negative 3. Okay, now for the second term, 4x cubed y raised to 5 over 4xy squared. So 4 will cancel out. You'll have x squared. And then for y, you have y cubed. So there you go. Plus x squared y cubed. Okay, then 32. But you can also do division, no, mentally. Like, you don't have to do this. You can do 32 divided by 4, 8. X to 6 over x, x raised to 5. Y raised to 10 over y squared, y raised to 8. Okay, so you can also do it mentally. But if you have a hard time doing it mentally, you can do this. Okay, so that's by common factor. I just want to give a simple example wherein sometimes people get a little bit confused with this one. Okay, so the common factor here obviously would be 2. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, that's 2. This is a simple one. And the lowest exponent is A. I cannot have a common factor of B because there's no B here. Now, this is what I want to point out. When you divide, right, 2A divided by 2A, let me just write it down here first so that you can see what I am pointing out. That's 1, right? And some of the common mistake is people place this with 0 because they're thinking that, okay, they factored it out, but you are doing division. Okay, so that's why when you simplify this, when you divide, you get a 1. Okay, so this is what I want to remind you, that this is not 0, it should be 1. Okay, then here you have 2A, and then for this one, you have 3B. Okay. So again, if you're not sure of what would be left in the expression here, what you can do is you're going to divide. Also, you can use the division so that it would be better. Okay. Now, these are some of the factoring that I would be discussing, okay? Because this will be the useful ones, no? Later on, I would also be doing completing the square for factoring. But for now, we'll just look at this formulas here, okay? So here we have when it's a binomial, okay, this will only work when you have an difference of 2 squares. Okay? it's only for the cube that you will be working with sum and difference. But for the square, it will only work when you have a difference. So here, I am sure that this first formula will not work. So I know that this one is for cube because there's no such thing as x squared plus y squared in our formula. Okay, so it's very easy because you just take the square root. Okay, so for the constant, that's just 5. And then for this one, you divide the exponent by 2. Okay. Then square root, again, divide the exponent by 2. Okay, so that's one term. And the other term is just change it to sum. So that's your factor of two perfect squares with a minus. Okay, so again, as I have told you, you cannot apply it here, even though if you see 27, no, 27 is not a perfect square, but even though if you have a number that is a perfect square, you cannot apply that rule for this one because it should be a minus. So this one, you have two terms and then you take the, this is for addition, right? So this is for the last formula here. Okay, we apply this. So look at the first two terms here. You take the cube root. So cube root of 27 is 3. Then you divide this by 3 since we're taking the cube root. So that's x raised to 4. And then cube root of 64 is 4. And then again, divide this by 3. So when you take the cube root, that's squared. Okay, so that's the first term. So how do you easily remember this without doing x, y, x, y? So you square the first term. You take the square of this. Okay, simply take the square. And then that would be minus. Then you just multiply this 2. That's how you get the middle term. Just multiply this. 12 x to the 4 y squared. And then the last term, you take the square of this. So that's 16 y raised to 4. Okay, so see? So don't memorize the letters. So you take the cube root of each of these two. The first one is the square. The middle term is the product. And the last term is the square of this. Okay, just be careful with the sign. Okay, so it's like an alternate positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. The last one is always a positive. So there, and then we have, okay, now for trinomial, you have here, this one must be both a perfect square, right? But we have to make sure that the middle is twice the product of x and y. So how do I check? Okay, so first we check perfect square. Okay, it's a perfect square. Let's take the square root of this, x, and then this one, the square root is 3y squared. Okay, so after I take the square root of this, I try to multiply this if the middle term would be the product of this times 2. So, ano yung middle term na to? 6, 2 times 3, xy squared. Okay, that's correct. So, that means I can factor that as a square of this binomial. Okay, so, you take the square root and then you multiply it and then by 2. That should be the middle term. And of course, the sign, no? It should be positive, positive, or the other one is negative, positive. Okay, let's repeat it again. Okay, so what do? We take the square root of this, so that's 2x raised to 5, and you get the square root of the other side, and then we multiply them times 2. The product should be equivalent to this value. So if that's the case, that means your factor, I'll just follow the sign, then that would be the factor of the second problem. Okay. So that's the factor of this one. Okay. So this one is checking, no? The second line that I'm doing is checking. Okay. Now look at this one. This is again a perfect square, right? Okay, so let's illustrate. This is a perfect square. The square root is x. The square root is 3 times 9. Okay. When I multiply this by 2, I should get 6xy. But this is not the case. So that means I cannot apply the square of a binomial. So that's why in my title here, I have here trinomial by trial and error. Okay, so you're going to have to look at factors of 1 and factors of 9 and do trial and error. So this will still be x. The square of this is also y. But what we're going to look for is the different factors of 1 and 9. Of course, for 1, you don't have a choice. It's 1 and 1. So we're looking of different factors of 9. So factors of 9 are 3 times 3 and 9 times 1. So we only have a few options here. Okay, now how do you look for the sign? If this is addition, that means you have to have the same sign. So that means they are both addition. So same. You follow this, no? How do I know that it's addition? I follow the same sign. Okay. Now, I will try the factors of 9. Okay, let's just say I tried 3 and 3. But of course, that's not correct. Because if that's the case, then it would be square of a binomial, right? Okay, so I'll try 9 and 1. Okay, how do I check? I just do this inner and outer of FOIL. Okay, so 9xy. Then if I multiply the outer, it's x and y. So if I simplify, it's 10xy, which is what we want. Okay, so this one is not fixed. So some of you have a different way of trying to do this trinomial trial and error. So it's up to you. Okay, now for the other one here, same thing, no? You might be tempted to take, oh, it's a perfect square. It's a perfect square, but I have to stop you. Look at this one. This is subtraction. So if you look at the square of a binomial, the last term should always be positive. So I know that this will not work, even though we have both perfect squares. So we will be doing again trial and error. So this is x, this is x. Now 36 has more factors, like you can multiply 1 and of course 36, 2 and 18, and then you can have 3 and 12, and of course you can have 4 and 9. Okay, so that's more challenging if you have more combinations to get the product. Okay, but look at this one. This is minus, no? What's the meaning? That means you have to have opposite sign. So that means one is addition and one is subtraction. So if I'm going to do the checking later, one is positive and one is negative. So what do you do with a positive and negative answer? If you have a positive and negative, you subtract, right? So to get -5, one there should be positive and negative. So that means um, I have to pick numbers that would give me a difference of 5. Okay, so which one here will be closer? Okay, look, it would be 4 and 9, right? Because since this is just 1. So since this is negative, so since this is a negative, -5, that means the bigger number will be with the negative sign. Okay, oops, 4. Okay, 4y. Okay, let's see. If we do this, that's 4xy, and that's -9xy. Oh, and you get a -5xy. Okay, so there's a correction here, a typo. I should have the 5 here. So that means that's the correct factor. Okay, so you can practice more with other references for this factoring.